All right, all right. We got about a minute before we get started. We'll give folks a chance to get into the room and people will join as we are moving through as well. Make sure that you are grabbing the workbook that is in the chat. There is a workbook. The link is tinyurl.com/edscale. tinyurl.com/EDSCALE. Just in case we have folks driving, maybe you can't look at the chat, just so you know, it's just tinyurl.com/edscale, SCALE, if you can just give me an indication in the chat if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me well. All right. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. I am my air is on, and so my background sounds loud to me, but I hope that you all can hear me just fine. Because it's about 90 degrees here. It is pretty warm here. So we are going to get started. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, thank you. Again, grab your workbook. There's a link in the chat. Grab your workbook. I wanted to make sure that folks had a chance to participate in the How to Scale Your Ed Consulting Biz Masterclass. I feel like this is one of those topics that we don't necessarily, when we decide to talk about it, it's too late. When we decide to talk about this topic, you normally should have talked about it at least a year ahead of that. And so I wanted to share this information in advance for people who maybe have already started your ed consulting business. You've been in it, for a year or two. I have people who have been in their consulting businesses for 6 and 10 years and have not taken into consideration how they were going to scale. I need new people who are thinking about starting their ed consulting business to know in advance, how are you going to scale this business? How are you going to not just create another job for yourself? So I want to get it out early. So this was worth doing it 2 times. And if my calendar permits, I hope to do it a 3rd time because people need to plan for this in advance. And let me be really specific. I'm not just talking about people. I'm talking about women, because women make up the majority of the education of teachers. And then we go to become consultants and work to make additional money consulting or form a business. But we don't think about the long-term plan. We don't think about the bigger picture or just having a bigger dream. So that's why we are making sure that people get this information on how to scale your ed consulting business. Again, if you don't have the workbook, the link is in the chat. So I just want to be clear that my goal is not to sell you stuff. I will present an opportunity if you're looking for some support moving your business on, but everything that I'm giving you in this presentation is truly how to scale your business. You can take this information, you can run with it for those who are already at this stage. For those who are not quite there, but you're preparing in advance, you're going to know exactly how you want to scale your business when it's time to scale your business, because this is something that we need to know in advance. I'm not going to start trying to, give you one thing and then give you something else. You will see that it's going to be totally how to scale your business, and not just the tasks that you need to do, but also the mindset that you need to have, because I can give you a list as a download of the 15 ways to scale your business. That's not going to do you any good, because you need to understand why you need to scale your business, why women don't scale their businesses, why we're in the situation that we're in, so that you can fix some of those things and fill some of those gaps, and then understand the ways in which you can scale and what that might look like. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I don't promote get rich quick schemes. I know that some of you all are scared to death of a quick get rich quick scheme. I am here to tell you that I don't believe, promote, or do anything around get rich quick schemes or scams at all. But I will tell you one thing, we've all been caught up in a scam and a scheme, and it's that stay broke and die one. See, I know for me, I was so busy running from the get rich quick scheme because I grew up in the age of the pyramid schemes and Bernie Madoff and all of that type of stuff. Didn't want anything to do with anything other than go to work, get a job, stay there for 30 years, retire, and then live my good life. But what I didn't realize is that that was a scheme to keep you broke all of your life. Even now, as you sit and listen to that advice, go to school, get a good job, stay there for 30 years, then retire and live your good life. Something in your mind should be saying, that might have been advice for back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, but that's not real good advice for the 90s, 2000s, and we're 2023. And so we know now that we don't even stay in jobs for 30 years anymore. And some of us, it's uncomfortable to say or even to think about. But right now, if you have a 20-something-year-old, they've probably gone through 4 or 5 jobs. People who are at the age of 35 right now have been in at least 8 jobs on average. And so things have changed, and we stayed in this scheme or scam, and now we're getting older, 40, 50, closing in on 60. And now we're supposed to live our good life, but our pension is not even the full amount of the check that we would get every day when we went to work. And we couldn't live off that, but we're supposed to be able to live off 40%. That it just doesn't make sense. That math does not math. The next point that I will share is about political correctness. I know that all of us work in the world of education, and in the world of education, we are very political. I know because I was a building principal, I was an assistant principal, I was an instructional coach. I've been a bunch of things. I've been an adjunct professor. So I absolutely know about the political correctness. We monitor every word that we say. We keep our tongue tamed. We make sure that we are in the middle, very neutral on everything. Well, that ain't this. I don't work in the school system anymore, and you're looking not to work in the school system anymore, or at least bring in additional income. And so I want you to understand that I'm not a politician. I don't have a political platform. None of this is political. I'm going to tell my truth, and I'm not going to mince words about it. And so my truth is my truth. Your truth will be your truth. But what you won't get is political correctness, nor will I try to be politically correct. I'm going to say exactly what I mean and how it impacted me, and what I'm going to share with you and my advice and recommendations from working with over 200 consultants. So if you are easily offended, which typically means that you have some healing that you have not done, then this might not be the call for you, because I am going to be very transparent. I'm going to be very open and honest, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to find the word or words or group of words that won't offend anybody on the line. So I just want to put that out there. I'm going to give you a lot of information, and it's going to be good information, but we're accustomed to working in the school system where people, don't do a good job of just being open and honest. So that's what you're going to get on this call. My goal, again, is to give you clarity. It's important for you to have clarity, because we got to stop creating new jobs for ourselves. We have to stop creating a situation where if we don't work, we don't get paid. And that's what independent consulting is. There are a lot of independent consultants in education. And it's important that we understand that there are ways that you can create and put in place where you can have money and a real job, a real business, and not just another job for yourself. So I'm going to give you clarity around that. I'm going to give you a way to develop a strategy. Hopefully you will leave here with this call with at least 3 strategies that you can put in place so that you know how to scale your business that's going to work for you. And then it's going to give you hope, because some people are at a point where they don't know what their next step is. They don't know what is possible. They may be at a point where they might need to close their business, or you might even be thinking, I need to go back into the school system. Whatever it is, I'm gonna work to give you some hope that the thing that you felt like you could do and that you put in place or that you believe can happen. And you will get that hope by being able to formulate a plan. And so in that plan, you'll know exactly what it is you need to do and how to go about doing that. And we're going to work on that in this next 90 minutes. The reason why this particular topic is so important to me is that you all may have noticed that there are a lot of women who own businesses. We have taken over the entrepreneurial space, but the unfortunate part is that we own 51% of all businesses in the United States, but we only bring in 4% of the revenue. 4% of the revenue. This to me is striking. And because I'm in the space and I'm in conferences, I was just in a networking group today, and it was all women, all really great women who have wonderful businesses, but I clearly see why we only bring in 4% of the revenue. And so if you just take a minute and think to yourself, on this call, or likely majority dominated women. And out of this call, we're only going to bring in about 4% of the revenue. And this is according to Amex, State of the Woman-Owned Business Report. This is very current, 2022. And so it's startling for us to see this. And you should see this and say to yourself, why is that? You should be wondering, why is that? And what can I do that my numbers are better? That's what I'm always trying to figure out. Statistics are good to help you to think about how you can change the statistic for yourself. It was also interesting to me that 13% of men earn 100K per year and above, but only 6% of women earn that much. Now, this is the thing that I also want you to think about. All of these people are working in the United States of America. And we tend to see on social media that everybody's making six figures. Everybody is making six figures. Everybody's making seven figures. At some point, you got to stop and ask yourself, well, if everybody's making six figures, 100,000 plus a year, you would think that that's the norm. I'm here to tell y'all folks, a lot of these people are lying to you. And some people are saying how they're making six figures, but is that your profit? Is that what you are bringing in? And then some people are just flat out lying. When you look at your social media feed and you're seeing all of these lifestyles, I want y'all to know that that's not true. Common sense will tell you that's not true if 80% of the United States of America are either in low income level or middle class. If that makes up 80% and only 20% are high income, then are only 20% on your social media feed? So I want us to know that that's just not accurate. People are portraying things that are not true, and you need to see some receipts. I always tell people, see receipts. If you talk to anybody in my mastermind, they will tell you they've seen receipts. I show my tax return, I've shown my bank accounts so that they can see what is real and what is not. So you should be wondering, why is the number so big and so different when we're the ones who have the majority of the businesses? And then the last stat that I see happening right now, so I always look at statistics and I see if they are actually happening right now. And that stat is that women are 80% more likely to be impoverished than men. And if you just stop and think about the women that you currently know, as many of us are thinking about retirement, many of us are 15, 16. Let's see, how many years are you into your career? Put it in the chat. Let us see, how many years are you into your career? When I left the education world, I was 17 in, and I had 8 more to go before I retired to do a 25 and out. How many years? Put it in the chat for me. How many years have you been in education? Oh, look at there, 30 years. All right, 30 years. That's the big one right there. All of us are typically working to get to 30 because you do 30 and you're out. Let's see, we got 20, 27. Esty says she was in 15. Sidra is 30. Melissa is 32. Yvette is 18. You see what I'm saying? So we have already done a lot of years. And then it's almost time to retire. We got 20. The numbers keep coming in, but you see the numbers. Then you have to think about women live longer than men. Women live longer than men. And that's a reality that we have to face according to statistics. And even when you think about people in your life, think about people in your family, most times the husband will die before the wife. That doesn't mean every single time. Now, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying the majority of the time, the woman is going to outlive the man. Women have a longer lifespan than men in the United States of America. So the woman will outlive the man, or there will be a separation, a divorce will happen, or a breakup. The man is going on about his business, and the woman now has to work off of one income. You know, we work, some of us never married, and so we are single. So we are doing everything on one budget, but then we may have children. And so there are a number of different reasons why women are 80% more likely to be impoverished than men. We already know that we make less than men. Most of us are not risk takers. So a lot of us didn't, invest heavily into the stock market to have huge payouts that are available to us in retirement, because we did what they told us to do. We went to school, we got the good job, we stayed there for 30 years, we invested in the school pension, and then we retired with the goal of living our good life. And for most of us, that pension check is not going to be enough for you to be able to gallivant around the world, buy a second home, pay for your kids' wedding, or whatever it is you want to do in your newly retired career, because you're not getting the same check that you were getting every week when you showed up to work. And so we have to take that into consideration. So of course, I'm going to suggest to you to know your number. If you participated in any of my other master classes, I'm an advocate for you knowing your number. You need to know what is the amount of money I need to bring in each month to live the life of my dreams, not to just get by, not to just be comfortable, not to just, this just enough. I got just enough. I got everything I need. That's not what I'm talking about. We got to want more than what we have. So what is your number? You got to know your number, and don't be afraid of the number. I like to keep bringing this back to us, because we have to stop being afraid to talk about money and what we desire, because in the past we were taught that desires are not good. Desires were typically associated with sex. And in some of our day and age, depending on, what year you were born, desire was connected to sexual actions and sexual activities. And so we don't want to desire things. No, you were made to desire things. You were made to want more. That's why as soon as you achieve a goal, notice that you create a new goal to want to work towards. It's normal. That's the way you were created. And so you got to figure out what it is you really want that would allow you to live the life of your dreams. Once you have a vision for what it is you want, then you can set goals to it. And then from those goals, that's going to allow you to create action steps, but you need time to implement those action steps. And in order to do that, you're going to need a support system. Trying to do this by yourself is not going to work. Ask anybody who built the business. And then money has to be invested. You got to spend money on you and your learning as well as the business. And so it's a process, but understanding upfront for those who have not started that there is a process to it. And if you understand, you get the big vision. And then from the vision, you got to figure out, how do I make this happen? Well, let me set a few goals. And then from those goals, you need time to do the steps that need to occur. You're going to need a support system. And for some of the things, you're going to need money, because in business, when you decide to become a consultant, you're now in the business world and no longer an educator in the education world. It's a pay-to-play society. In the school system, they pay for everything because they don't pay you enough. They told you at the onset of the job what you would make 20, 25 years later. and you agreed, signed the paper, and built your life around that number that was on that 25-year mark, which for most of us was around 80, 85, 90, $95,000. We started at 40,000, and we clearly saw that 25 years later, we barely will have doubled our income, and nobody thought that was ridiculous. I know I didn't. When I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, in year 20, I'm gonna be making 85,000, 90,000. And if I get a doctorate degree, I can make $95,000. Bet that's what I'm gonna do. Because in our minds, they were working on our minds. They were letting you know educators do not make six figures unless you are a principal or in administration. Don't expect to make six figures. And this is common throughout the United States. You have some areas with a little more, with a higher pay rate because the cost of living is more. So when you're talking about DC, they make a little bit more. When you talk about New York, they're also paying $3,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. So you got some differences there. So there are some high cost of living states. We're not going to even talk about Cali. Oh my goodness. I just left Cali and they showed me it wasn't even a 1-bedroom, it was a studio for $20,000. It was like, you pay $2,800 to live here. It was a studio. There were no walls, none. And so understand that there's some mindset work that we have to go through because we've been trained by an institution and it was done so subtly, a lot of us don't even realize it. So why am I telling you this? And not just getting straight into the ways to scale your business, because folks, we got to understand these statistics so that you can plan your time and you can stop falling into some of the traps that are keeping us stuck in these situations. So if you can understand, if you can crave it, you can create it. You can create whatever you crave. But the thing is, the institutionalization has been so good and so proper that we won't even crave anything different. We won't even think to ourselves, I can live a different life. I can make $200,000. I can make $400,000. I want to decide that I'm going to make $20,000 a month. Educators just don't say that. We don't do that, and we don't believe that. And that's intentional. When you decided you wanted to be a teacher or an educator, some of y'all decided at that point, you already knew, I won't be able to live a luxurious life. I won't have a lot of money. That's okay. I'll be doing good work. I just want to serve the community. And then we say these things to make ourselves feel better. And I did it. That's why I'm sharing it, because hopefully you can connect to what I'm saying, because I did it too. I did it too. When I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, when I'm trying to give to a kid at school and I barely got money to pay my electric bill, when I'm buying material for the classroom and I need to be trying to get some car insurance for my vehicle because it's not enough money between the 2 checks I got every month, but I'm still trying to buy lunches for kids at school and do all these things. We accepted when we became teachers that we wouldn't make a lot of money, that we wouldn't be able to live a rich life, that we would never be wealthy. A lot of us accepted that and we became addicted to the struggle. So these are the 3 things I want you to understand. You're ready already. Like, you don't need anything else. I just watch people put into the chat that they've been in their jobs in education for 30 years, for 25 years, for 18 years, for 20 years, for 17 years. It does not take 50 years for you to know what you know. And we just keep thinking, if I had a little more experience, if I had one more certificate, if I had one more degree, listen here. After 10 years, you should be able to do this with your eyes closed. Most of us after 5 years, Oh, I don't know what happened, but my screen went out. My whole internet went out, as a matter of fact. So just give me a minute. All right, can you all see my screen? Okay. My internet went out. I don't know why. The whole thing went out and it had to reboot. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of kids on the video game today. So I don't know if the good heat is getting us because it's 90 degrees here. It's 90 and it's just now June 1st. That's not a good sign for St. Louis in June because that means that we might have a hot summer coming up. So anyway, right back where I left off. So you're already ready. You have everything that you need. And so you got to trust the process. A lot of times we want stuff to happen overnight. But if we know that when we started teaching, that you went through a process, you had to go to college, you had to get a degree, you had to go through interviews, you had to interview at different schools. And then even after you got the job, it took you 2 years, 3 years to figure out everything. Just trust the process. Just trust the process as you're building your ed consulting business. Don't think that it's going to happen all night, but I also don't want us to think that it takes 5 years or 10 years. Really, in ed consulting, you can change your life in 9 to 12 months. 9 to 12 months, you can have one of the most successful and sustainable businesses that you ever thought you could have. And then you got to commit. Like a lot of times we'll say what we want, and then we won't follow through. And so we have to be willing to commit. And when you commit, that looks different. Think about when you commit, when you marry, you take on a level of commitment. So a lot of us got to stop dating our businesses and decide that you're going to marry your business. When I was dating, I would date more than one man at a time. Because if you're dating, you're single, you're not in a relationship. So I can date more than one person. I would go to dinner with multiple people. Hey, look, it was free food and entertainment. But then when I decided I was getting married, that meant that I'm done dating. I'm going to commit to this one person and we're going to work to make this work. That's the same thing you need to do with your business. Some of us right now have been in our businesses for 4, 5, 6 years and are still dating our businesses. Think about what would happen if you were married and didn't call your husband or wife for 2 or 3 days. What would happen if you didn't put any time or effort into your relationship for weeks at a time? That would be problematic and you would be headed for divorce. But if you were dating and that happened, it's like, oh, I was busy, because you're only dating. Some of us need to stop dating our businesses and decide that we are going to go ahead and marry our business. So what needs to happen in order for you to live the life of your dreams? For me, $15,000 is the number. And some of y'all on here know your number. Oh, Alicia is in, check this out. This is how crazy we are in St. Louis. So Alicia is in St. Louis. Alicia, you're still in St. Louis, right? She said it's raining over where she is.
Yes.
And, okay, see, and I'm probably no more than 15 minutes away from Alicia. And if you look out my window, it's bright and shiny. It's super bright and shiny. This is how crazy we are in St. Louis. Sometimes it'll be a storm 10 minutes away from me. And in my area, it'll be completely sunny. It's crazy. So I saw in the chat, Alicia said, it's raining outside. It ain't raining over here. It's super hot over here. It's 90 degrees. It's crazy. And we might be about to get a storm. As she's saying that it's raining in her area, it may be brewing up a storm to bring on over here to us. So tell us, for those of us who know, what's your number? What is your number? Because there are some people on here who know their number. How much do you need to make in per month in order to live the absolute life of your dreams? What's your number? If you already know it, if you participated in one of the previous master classes where we actually worked through our number, what is your number? Put it in the comments for me. Put it in the chat. Let's see what your number is and help some other people to understand their number, because one of the things that we will often do. We won't take the time to figure out our number, but then we will decide that it's unachievable. We'll say, no, I can't make that much. So Sidra says she needs to make about 185K. So Sidra, that's about 15,000 a month, because my number is 15,000 a month, and it takes me to 100. I need to make 189,000, almost 190 a year. Leah says 15,000 a month. Melissa said 150 a year. So Nikisha says 25K a month. So when you know your number, it helps you to figure out what are the things you need to do. So for me, if you were in my previous masterclass, I walked through my house that I'm moving into. See how I claim that I'm moving into the home, my dream home that I'm buying, $650,000. My house note will be around $4,300 a month. Every single thing is already mapped out. My entertainment budget, my clothing budget, my travel budget, utilities. And so I know that $15,000 per month will allow me not to just live, but to live the way I want to live, to still be able to travel the way I want to travel, to be able to donate to the charities that I want to be able to donate to be able to have money to support my, the things, the milestones of my 3 boys. So 15,000 a month is enough for me. For other people, like who is that? Esty is in Cali. She might need 25,000 a month. And then if you're in Mississippi, the cost of living is cheaper, $10,000 a month, and you could be balling out at 10 a month. Some people can ball out at $8,000 a month. Whatever your number is, don't let our number impact your number. Because I can tell you right now, at 10 a month, I ball out. I'm in Missouri. And at $10,000 a month, I ball out. I can pay my house note, car note, insurance, travel. People see me traveling all the time. Money in the bank, savings, because you bring in $10,000 every month, and that was only bringing in $10,000 at $120,000, $130,000 a year. So that's what I want us to do, to know. Esty says her number is $28,000 a month. And Sidra says she's going to do 185 plus her retirement. Dominic says she's going to do 200K a year because she's in New York. You got that right, Dominic. In New York, you're going to need a little extra change, a few more coins. And so when we know our number, then the only thing you have to ask yourself or have in place is, how am I bringing in leads? How am I bringing in leads into my business? You got to have a method and a strategy for bringing in leads. If you do not have a clear, concise method or strategy for bringing in leads, how do you plan to get to your number? And then how many leads do you need to bring in? First of all, you got to know how you bring them in. Then you got to know how many do you need to bring in. And then once you bring them in, you're not going to convert all of them. Just like when I did this masterclass. In this masterclass, I already know that only 30% of the people who sign up will show up. So even with 100 people signed up, I already knew maybe 30 would be on this call. And look at the number. So even though you get the leads, you got to know your conversion rate. You got to know the data. And all of this is nothing but math. And then how many clients do I need to enroll? How many clients do I need to enroll? In the school system, I already know when I enroll 5 clients in my biggest package, I'm set for the year, y'all. 5 clients right now, my package is $43,000. When I enroll 5 clients, that's all I need in 1 year is 5 clients. And I'm well over $200,000 with 5 clients. The most clients I've ever had in a year is 12. It's 12. And and keep in mind that I value time. So I didn't want to create another job for myself. So the most I've ever worked is like 160 days in a year as a consultant. So there are 365 days in a year. I had 200 of those days off. So you got to understand what your priorities are. If some of us, we just want to stack a lot of money. Let me work as much as I can for the next 3 years, pull in as many contracts, make as much money, invest, buy properties, get cars on Turo, invest in the stock and trade, get some annuities, whatever your plan is. But you got to know what your plan is. And from that, you then determine how you're going to allocate your time. So you got to know, how many clients do I need to enroll? And then how much time will this take? How much time will this take? So it's a process. So I want us to understand, when you know the things that you need to do, it makes doing it so much easier. But we have to make it simple. So we overcomplicate stuff. As women, we want to do 26 things at one time. Focus on the one thing. I make it simple. I need to make $15,833 per month, and that totals $189,996 per year. Let me be super clear, because last time somebody sent me a message about this. Do I make $15,833 every month? Let me be clear. Now I do. But you don't always make it in a month, is the point that I'm making. So you might have a month where you do $30,000. The next month you might only do $5,000. And then the next month you might do $28,000. And then the next month you might do $15,000. But on average, you're going to make about $15,000 a month to get you to that $189,000 a year. And then there are ways that you pay the things that you have to make sure that you're always caught up on your bills. So I don't want to scare you with the idea of every single month I need to make $15,833. That's not the way it works in the business world. That's the way it works in the school system and when you are a W-2 employee. But if I have a month where I brought in a I got paid a deposit of $28,000 on a contract, I'm good. I'm good for this month, and I'm a little good for next month, but then I'm still working on my next contract, in which my next deposit might be $18,000. So you will get multiple checks in a month, and you can close multiple contracts, or you might be at a state like I'm at a place where I only need to close a couple of contracts a year. This summer, I plan to close one contract. I just need one contract. It's going to bring about $50,000 into my business, and I'm good until the winter. And then I'll have automation working to bring that next contract in. So I want to be clear about that. So you got to think about what your current reality is. You got to think about, where are you currently at? How much are you currently making right now per month? And how are you living right now? And is that the way you want to continue to live? And so once you figure out, this is my current reality, this is where I want to be, there's a gap in between. So I got to put a plan together to close that gap. So the thing that keeps us apart is that women spend 37% more of their time on household chores than men, even in households where both partners work full time. Now, a part of this is our fault. It's our own fault. So I want to be clear about that. So we go to work just like our husbands, and don't go in there bashing y'all spouses either, because that's not the point here. The point is, we got to figure out what we need to do differently, not go and bash our spouses and say, I'm doing all of the work, although it can be frustrating. So we both go to work for 8 to 10 hours a day, and we come home and we still need to clean the house, cook the dinner, take care of the kids, do soccer practice, help mama and grandma, go volunteer at the church, talk on the phone, help with homework, and do all of these things. And at what point do you have time to work in your business? This is why you see the numbers at the beginning. This is why you see the numbers at the beginning, why 51% of the businesses are owned by women, but only 4% of the income is made by women. This is why 80% of women are impoverished in retirement, because we focus our energies on the wrong things. We have to have a better harmony with how we spend our time. And so when you think about what are you spending your time on, we typically are spending 7 hours per week cleaning the house, 4 hours doing laundry in a week, 4.5 hours prepping and preparing meals, 2.5 hours on social media, and 8.5 hours per day at work. And then we need to get 8 hours of sleep. So think about that. Where is building a business coming in that situation? Where is the time to build the business? Where is the time to be committed to your business, boo. Where's the time? This is why we keep dating our business, because we have to figure out a different way to make this happen. And there is a different way, but again, it's the mindset things we got to work on. A lot of business building is unlearning. I know in my household, my mom taught us, you cook for your children. If you don't cook for your kids, you lazy. If you don't clean your house, you're lazy. God forbid you get a cleaning lady. That's ridiculous. She got to have somebody come clean her house. You should be able to clean your own house. Well, I can tell you, back then, they couldn't afford to have a house clean. And so it would be lazy and kind of pathetic for you to be spending money on a cleaning lady when you can barely make rent, when you don't have enough money for food, when you're eating beans and rice every day. But these days, we have a little more disposable income. We have a little bit left over. So if I can get the cleaning lady to come clean my house, I can take back those 7 hours per week from cleaning my house. Instead of spending 2 hours every Saturday at the grocery store, I can now Instacart the food to my house. And then you got those people, I got to pick my own fruit. I want to touch my own tomatoes. Okay, keep letting your business suffer, because the business is what's going to change your life, not your farm tomatoes. So there are ways that there are things that we can utilize, but it requires us to unlearn some of the things that we already have ingrained in us. So then it becomes a question of, you're doing all of those other things. And let me go back so you can see the things that we're doing. These are things that we're doing. But do you get to exercise? Do you get to watch TV? Do you get to have quality time with your children? Do you get to volunteer for the things that really matter to you? Do you have leisure time that's really for you to enjoy? Do you get to socialize? Do you participate in your religious activities? And do you have a hobby or a sport or recreational activities that you do? Because many times we're too busy doing too many other things. So this is the very reason why we're not able to scale our businesses. This is why we continue to create jobs for ourselves. This is why we can't cross over the 6-figure mark, A, because we don't believe it, but B, we haven't dedicated the time or committed to the business. So if you look at this chart, we gotta sleep and we gotta work. That's 3/4 of the chart taken up. And so we gotta eliminate some things and replace it with something else. So some of the things that you gotta make a decision on what you're going to eliminate. What are you going to eliminate to replace with time to work in your business? So you gotta figure that out. But do know this, when you make that decision, where intention goes, disruption follows. So when you decide, I am going to be serious about this business, and I'm going to stop dating my business, I'm about to marry my business, I'm about to commit, I'm about to do this, expect disruption to follow. Because anytime that you make a decision to grow exponentially, you are going to be faced with some type of disruption to make you decide whether or not this is really what you want. So just be aware of that. And some of you all know exactly what I'm talking about. The difference between those who are highly successful and the income levels is 240 minutes. I'm gonna keep telling people this, it's 240 minutes. 240 minutes, that's simply 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day is what sets people apart in income levels. It's what keeps the low income from the middle income, and it's what keeps the middle income from the high income. And all of you all, those numbers you put into the chat, all of those are high income numbers. Those are high income numbers that are reserved for the top 15% of the world. So if you want to be in that top 15 to 20%, you got to do something different with 240 minutes out of your day each day. And so you got to determine, what is it that I'm going to eliminate? What is it that I'm going to outsource? How can I get more out of the time that I'm using? And you're going to have to create the balance, and it's going to require sacrifice. So if we think I can just add this on, it's not going to work like that. You're going to have to take something off your plate before you can put new things on, or all you're going to do is set yourself up for some broken plates. So your 240 minutes, You need to be thinking to yourself, while I'm watching this Netflix movie where the people who are on the screen already got paid, let me turn this off and take those 2 hours and go work in my business. When you are sitting in that parking lot with your kid while they are at soccer practice or standing there talking to those other parents, you need to say to yourself, me talking to these parents are not moving me to the next level. Let me go back to my car and work on my business while my kid is at soccer practice. Notice we still got to take the kids to the soccer practice. We still got to go to baseball practice. We still got to go to dance class. Y'all might be able to tell I only have boys. That's why I only talk about sports, because I don't have any girls. But for the ones who got girls, you might still have to go to gymnastics. But when you are there, you don't have to stand there and talk to the parents for 2 hours. You got to figure out, how can I use my time more productively? A big one. Some of y'all show up at school an hour ahead of time and stay an hour after. Who told you to do that? They didn't pay you for that. As a matter of fact, they were clear that you were not getting paid for that. But that's what good teachers do. Well, at this point, you want to do something different. And so you don't have to do that anymore. You got permission to be released from that. So think about how you can get the 240 minutes back to work into your business, and you will see your business grow at an exponential rate. So I want you to plan your time so you can take that time back, because it's not going to do you any good to know how to scale your business when you don't have time to scale the business. You don't have time to work in the business. You don't have time to commit to the business. So scaling it won't work. So I want to make sure that you have strategies and you understand what keeps folks in independent consulting jobs, what keeps people as independent contractors, why it is that a lot of female contractors never make it to the point where they have scaled their business and are living a little different and haven't just created a job for themselves. So I want to ask you, how big are you truly thinking? How big are you truly thinking? Are you thinking, well, I just want to make better money? Are you thinking, well, I just want to do this for a few years. I want to be my own boss. What are you truly thinking? When I came out of the school system, my vision was, I don't ever want to be an employee again. Like, just hands down, I don't ever want to be nobody's employee again. I don't want to work for anybody again. That was my whole goal. And so I said, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to make my own money. I want to be in control of my income. That was the extent. That's all I had for you. So I want you to think to yourself, how big are you truly thinking? And are you limiting your dream? Because there's a difference between growth and scaling. Some of us are thinking that growth and scaling are the same thing, and they are not. Growth is increasing revenue. When you're increasing your revenue, that's growth. But scaling is increasing revenue without incurring significant costs. So there's a difference between growth and scaling. A lot of times people think just add a new team member and you're scaling. That's not true. You can add a new team member and you're just growing. You're just increasing your revenue, but you added an employee, which increased your cost. So those are just growth mechanisms. But scaling is something different. So I want us to understand that when you scale, you increase revenue without incurring significant costs. But in all scenarios, you're increasing revenue. So in my first year and a half, I was increasing revenue. I was bringing in more money. I was making more profit. I was picking up more contracts. I was bringing on more clients. I was getting more leads. That's growth. That's all I was doing. I was growing. I wasn't scaling. I wasn't scaling. I was just growing. My business was growing. I was still an independent contractor. I had a few contract workers, a couple of virtual assistants. I had a couple of people who, if I was too busy, they would go take my place. But that was just growth. That was not scaling. And so then that's why I'm here now, because I want us to have a scale plan. I found myself in a situation where I had too much work and it was only me. And then if you get sick and can't show up, you don't eat, because independent contracting is all about being present to do the work. They are paying for you to be there. So I want to give you just a couple of examples, and then we're going to get into the ways to scale your business. But most of us created our business out of need. When I think about Kara Golden, I met her a few weeks ago. Really great lady. She reminds me of one of my clients that I currently have, whose name is also Kira. They remind me their hair color is very similar, and they have the same type of personality. And it's just really amazing. As soon as I met her, I was like, oh my goodness, you remind me of Kira. And her name is Kira too. But she's the lady who created hemp water. Some of you all may be familiar with hemp water. She went to the doctor, had a diabetes threat. The doctor told her she was pre-diabetes. She didn't want to be pre-diabetes. That was not a good thing. And, you know, like a lot of people associate diabetes with being overweight. They associate diabetes with a lot of sugar. And so that wasn't her situation at all. She works out, she's very active. And so what she found was that she was drinking a lot of Pepsi and Coke. I think her favorite soda was Coke. And so she was drinking 5, 6 Cokes a day. And so the doctor told her, you got to stop drinking the sodas and taking in the sugar. Your levels are off. And so she needed to drink more water. She was drinking the water. The water was very bland. She was like, this sucks. I don't like this water. There's no flavor to it. If I could just get a little bit, just a little bit of flavor to it. And so she went in her kitchen. She had a lemon. She squeezed the lemon into it. It gave the water life. The next day, she did an orange. The next time, she put some blueberries in there. And then she said, this is really good. She started serving it to her, she in her neighborhood, they would do like meetings and stuff. And so she would serve the water to them with the fruit in it, and they would love it. And so then she got the idea. She said, well, what if I started selling this? And she started selling it. And then she said, well, so she was already doing it as an independent contractor. She said, well, let me find a better way to package it. She found a better way to package it. And her scaling mechanism was she went to Whole Foods. And I don't know why a lot of y'all think that you got to have all these attorneys and we overcomplicate stuff. She simply went into Whole Foods. She shopped there all the time. She went and talked to the manager to see, what do I need to do to get a space on one of your shelves? And he told her what she needed to do. She went, she did it, brought a few cases of the water back, put it on the shelves. Within a week, the water was gone. When she came back in, she thought that they didn't put the water on the shelves because it left so quickly. And so she went back to the manager and she said, hey, what happened? You said you were going to put the water on the shelf. He said, I did. They sold quickly. We need some more. That's how hemp water came to be. A woman at home, regular, just like you and me. She wasn't living in no $2.9 million house or anything. She was trying to help her kids, live her life, work her job, had a problem, came up with a solution for the problem. How was she able to scale? She was able to get her water into a bigger store in front of more people. And then she went from the store, she said, I'm going to cut out the middleman. Because you know, Whole Foods, they need their little cut now. So she said, I'm gonna cut out the middleman and I'm gonna mail it directly to your house. And that's why right now you can go online and have hemp water, cases of hemp water. I know because I order them to my house, $36 for 36 bottles to come to your house. That's only if you get them on sale at bradsdeal.com. But the regular price is a little bit more, but they come right to your house. So she scaled through that way. And then when you think about Magic Johnson theaters, Magic Johnson was a basketball player and he had an idea. So I want you all to make this connection. He had an idea. Kara had an idea. You have an idea. You're doing the work. She was doing the work. Magic Johnson was doing the work. He bought the theater. That was his work. But at some point you have to say to yourself, how do I scale this thing? For him, he scaled by buying multiple locations, but he had to get the one location up and running in order to buy multiple locations. But you got to understand, it starts with an idea, gaining success from that idea, and then figuring out how do I scale. But you cannot wait until success is bursting all over the place before you decide this, I need to now scale. You need to already have an idea about how to scale in advance. So now we get into the methods. Number one scaling method is the one you all were probably thinking of. Hire a team, bring more employees on, bring people on to help you out. That's the number one way to scale your business. So if it's just you, Just like it was just me, I could go in, I could do one PD a day. If I hire another consultant, now I can do 2 PDs a day, and I can pay her a portion of the money, and I make a portion and I'm not even there. So I'm increasing my revenue. That's number one way. Hire a team, bring people on. And that's the likely way that a lot of you all will initially think to scale. But you got to understand that's not the only way to scale. You need to be scaling through your upsells and cross sales. This is one for school consultants. I'm talking about folks who are in these schools. It drives me crazy. You will go into a school, you will deliver PD, you will do training, you will do coaching, and you will finish out that contract and just walk away. That's not it, people. You got to have something for them to upsell to or to cross sell to. If I'm working with leaders, so I'm a leadership coach in the school systems. I'm a leadership coach. I'm working with 4 principals from 4 different elementary schools in the same district. The superintendent brought me in. So the superintendent contacted me, said, we need to get these new leaders some training. It's 4 of them. I sell them my $43,000 package. So I'm meeting with these 4 principals. We're going through, doing the thing that we do in my leadership training. Well, guess what? My cross sale is what a superintendent brought me in to work with y'all. But in your building, you got assistant principals, you got department chairs, you got leaders in your building. They need to be trained too. Let's get them into a package. Now I'm getting money out of the district budget, but also out the building budget. So I'm working with the 4 leaders that the superintendent told me to work with, but I'm doing cross sales to the other leaders that are in the 4 buildings. So we got to get out of the habit of thinking that one contract is enough. You can scale by cross selling. So I started with the building leaders, and we already are 3 months in. I done got to know you now. Well, now I'm going to do a cross sale. So now what was going to be a 6-month contract, I'm going to finish that out. But now I got 4 more months to do with your other department chairs or whatever it is. So you can have upsells and cross sales. I might have a leader, one of my last upsells, I had a leader who was, pretty much struggling. It was a rough school. So, it was a lot going on. And superintendent brought me in. Well, guess what? I upsold him to a VIP day. I was like, you need one-on-one time. You need a lot of time. And you need just my brain on your problem and not my brain on 4 or 5 other people's problems plus yours. You need to do a VIP day. He paid to do a VIP day with me. He paid for it out of his budget. That's an upsell. So upsells and cross sales. You might need to add a product or service. I hope that you're at a point where you're writing this down in your notebook or in your workbook, because you need to be determining which ones you are going to add to scale your business. So you might decide to add a service or a product. So I do leadership coaching with leaders, but I also do professional development. And my professional development is normally around leadership training, disc analysis, communication, leadership, things of that nature. But I can also do small group coaching. I can also do one-to-one coaching, but it all comes from my one product. I'm not creating 10 or 15 different products. I'm adding a service that will complement the product that I sell. So I hope that's making sense to you. So add a product or a service. The next one. All of us need to be working on this. A great way is to build your community. A great way to scale is to build a community. Stop thinking that somebody else is going to do the work for you. It's not true, people. Build your own community. Building a community, it takes time, but it works. What you're in right now is a community. Many of you came into Educators Moving On Network or have recently come in contact with my community. I built that community. And so a lot of times we don't understand why when we're in other people's community, they don't let us solicit, they don't let us sell. You need to do all this hard work yourself. Don't come into my community trying to sell to my people who I had to take 2 years to build this community, and you just want to walk up and sell to. No. So you got to build your own community. Build the community. There are people who have the problem that you are solving. But do they even know that you're solving that problem? And you got to nurture that community. You got to do some things. You got to show that you're the expert. You got to create thought leadership and let them know that you are the leader. So building your community is an amazing way to scale your business. The next one, this is one that I'll be adding next year. You see how I'm already telling you what I'm going to be doing next year? 2024, in Educators Moving On, we'll be adding a coaching certification program. So people who want to be consultants and have never been formally trained to be a coach will be able to come to Educators Moving On and get a coaching certification, but that won't be until the second half of 2024. So you can add certification programs. For some of you all, you can do personality inventory certifications. You can do coaching certifications. If I'm not mistaken, Cassandra has a certification that she uses as well. So add a certification program that you are selling. And then she put a heart. All right. So then monthly subscription. Now, I'm going to warn some people about monthly subscriptions. I like monthly subscriptions, but y'all, people, unless you have a big community, you cannot be out here offering $20 monthly subscriptions. It's going to be too much work unless you have a huge community. Now, it's one thing if you have 300 people signed up for a subscription that's $20 a month, but it's a whole different ballgame when you got 20 people signed up at $20 a month, and you are doing all the things that you need to do to make the monthly subscription work. So monthly subscription is an amazing way to scale your business, but it has to be priced accordingly. Oh, excuse me, I had to burp. And so if it's priced accordingly, you should feel like you are being paid appropriately for the services that you are rendering. You shouldn't be showing up every week to a call or whatever your monthly subscription is, mailing stuff out, and at the end of the month, you're only making $300. That doesn't make sense. So monthly subscription is the next way to scale your business. The next thing, you can license your signature product. So you can license it so other people can use it. There are several people who have courses that they license to other school systems. There are curriculums that are licensed to school systems and they pay to use it. It's not theirs. They're paying to use it and they have access to the full product. A lot of you all in your school system are using other people's curriculums, like your school paid for 1,000 seats into this program. That's what they did. They licensed their signature product. So you need to think about that. There are some people who write curriculum, who have different programs. A colleague of mine, she has a program for students who don't want to go to college. And she has licensed that to the counseling departments, and their students can go through her program and the school will buy seats. So they might buy 100 seats and they can put 100 kids into that program, and she walks them through their options and how to pursue the different things if you don't want to go to college. So you can license your signature product. You can buy a license to monetize. I've done this. I do this. So I do the DISC analysis and IQ, the emotional intelligence assessment. And so I have a license to be able to license other people as well as to test. So I pay $10 for the test, but I charge the school system $150 every time I have to give the assessment. Well, what does it require for me to give the assessment? I have to be licensed and certified through DISC assessment. And then I get a reduced rate for the test that I buy, $10. They provide the platform for me and everything. And then when the school system buys my package, a part of it is the DISC analysis, the DISC assessment. I send them a link in email. They click the link, they take the assessment. The system does everything itself, and I charge them $150. So I'm paying $10 and making $150. And then I can license other consultants to give the test as well. So you can buy a license to monetize. The next one is you can have your own technology. Folks, we're in a new day and age. You can create apps. You can have apps created. They are not $40,000 and $50,000 like your brain might be telling you they are. They are not. Technology has rapidly changed. It has rapidly changed. You can create apps or have an app created really quickly. You can have a course created, have your own technology. This is what I mean by how big are you thinking? How big are you really thinking? Are you playing small because you don't think you can afford it? You don't think you can manage it? You don't believe that you can do all of this? You can do these things. The next option is to expand locations. That's what Magic Johnson did. He started with one location and he went to multiple locations. So some people are in actual physical buildings. Kenyatta just bought or just rented her first space. She works in education. She's a SPED teacher and she has a tutoring site. You can expand locations. You can get the first one up and going, get the clients in, and then decide I'm going to open another one 20 miles away and get clients over there. You can expand locations. Again, how big are you truly thinking? Are you just trying to create another job for yourself? Or are you truly building a business and building an empire? If you're doing the latter, then you need to know how you're going to scale your business. The next one, you're going to build a franchise model. Again, look at Chick-fil-A, franchise model. Look at McDonald's, franchise model. But what do you have to do first? You got to get yours up and going. Get the process, have your SOPs in place, have the culture already nailed down. Do you ever wonder why every time you go to Chick-fil-A, well, 90% of the time, when you go to Chick-fil-A, it's always the same feeling. They always greet you the same way. When you go inside, it's always the same. When you get in the drive-thru, it's always the same because they have standard operating procedures. That is the culture that they have built, and they make sure that when they sell a business, first they have vetted the people who are buying it, and they also make sure that those people understand and are trained in their franchise model. It's not just expanding. There's a difference between expanding locations and building a franchise model. So I want to make sure that we understand that. Another way, buy your competitor. Again, how big are you thinking? How big are you thinking? You can buy your competitor. Some people are thinking, I can never afford to do that. Well, that's thinking. And a lot of times, think about it. I'm in almost 7 years now. I got maybe 5, 6 years left doing this work. I might be willing to sell my business. And a lot of times we think you got to have done it for 50 years. No, there will be a lot of people who will be interested in buying my business, which means they're getting my clients, they're getting my email list, they're getting all of my products, they're getting everything that comes in my business ready to go. All they have to do is step in and take over where I left off and continue to build the business and the brand. So you can buy your competitor. If I were saying, I could be looking at other competitors who I could buy. So you could buy your competitor. And then one of my favorites is pop-up shops. Some of you all have amazing businesses. You do some great workshops. We have a person right now who does early childhood. My pre-K people, I just don't know why we don't go get the dollars that are available in pre-K. So we have a person right now, she goes all over the state of Texas doing pop-up shops. She does workshops to show pre-K, early childhood educators, hands-on activities that they can do in the classroom, because you know the little kids, they need something to do. It needs to be educational, and they're 3, 4 years old. And so she goes and she does a workshop where you are creating the thing, you're building the thing that she's showing you, so that when it's time to do it with your class, you know exactly how to do it. And so some of them are arts and craft products. Some of them are, you might be doing a read aloud, and she's showing you how to do, what did she call it? A pop-up house, where they're reading and they're putting together the little house, and it's a part of the reading. So she's doing this actually in a workshop on Saturdays. And this is the other thing that I want to dispel to you all. Sometimes you think you need 100 people or 300 people, or I got to have all the people, 8,000 people. No, she started with 5 people at her workshop. Even today, when she gets 25 people there, she's elated. She's elated. But if you multiply 25 times the price she's charging, she's doing good, folks. She's living a dream. She's making more than everybody. So stop thinking that you need these large number of people when you don't. There's a lot of money to be made in micro events. So don't despise small beginnings. If you are doing something and 4 people show up, you need to perform like 400 people show up. And then this one is national workshops. This is one that a lot of people can do. A national workshop is that you're just going all over the state, all over different states, putting on the same workshop, giving people the opportunity to learn under your tutelage in different states. So you might do one in Florida, one in New York, one in Texas, one in Cali, one in Kentucky, one in Arizona, and you might have a 7-state tour that you're doing. Those are national workshops. You list the dates, you make sure that you get advertisements out and you get people signed up. You know, at the beginning of the year or middle of the year, all of the dates through the end of the year, people have the opportunity to sign up. The key to it is every time you're doing the same thing. I need all of the people who like to do all that extra work to stop. We're not doing a different workshop every time. It's the same one, different state, different people. So national workshops, again, how big are you thinking? How big are you thinking? So it's your turn. It is your turn. I want you to think about what are the 3 methods you can use to scale your business? What 3 methods can you use to scale your business? Which 3 resonated with you? Can you put them in the chat? Put it in the chat. The 3 that really resonated with you that you know, I need to consider this. When you heard it, you said that would fit great with my business model. When you heard it, you said, I think I can do this. Put it in the chat. What are the 3 methods that you can use to scale your business? Your business that you're working now or the one that you plan to put into play as you build your business? What are our options? What options do we have? Or was this not helpful for us? Was this not helpful? Because I don't see anything going into the chat. What we got? Okay, so I see national workshops as a big option. Okay, what else we got? What else do we have? National workshops is an option, but we need 3 options. You can't just lay your hat on one. You gotta have at least 3 options because we gotta know when and how we're going to pivot when the time comes. All right, we got technology, okay? PD, national workshops, and coaching to complement the PD. All right, what else we got, folks? Okay, she said she's gonna do a little licensing and she's gonna do some coaching. Okay, keep them coming, keep them coming. She says add a service, build an app, and pop-up shops. Okay, so as you think about it, yes, she said pop-up, cross sales, and licensing. And so one of the things that I will also say is what is going to be the easiest, the simplest way for you to scale. That's right. That says hire some people, have my own technology and licensing. Gwen says technology, PD, and coaching. Absolutely. So think about what's the easiest one. What's one that you can definitely get going? So this is why it is so important to know how you're going to scale, because you can't let the situation sneak up on you and you don't know the solution. And so now you're trying to learn, you're trying to scale, and you're trying to unlearn. That's trying to do too many things at one time. And part of it is not going to be done the right way. I want you to think for a minute about how these folks scaled their businesses. Think about how Jeff Bezos scaled his business. Amazon started as a library, a book source, and now it dominates. All of us are using Amazon. Think about Elon Musk and how he scaled his business. We have Slack. Before now, a lot of y'all didn't even know anything about Slack. And then when COVID hit, now we all know what Slack is. Think about Snapchat. Snapchat was just about to be eliminated. Some of y'all have forgot that Snapchat was around. Snapchat is still alive and working because they figured out a way to scale because they were losing customers just hands over fist. And so they had to figure out a way to scale. Think about Pinterest. Pinterest. A lot of us, we really love Pinterest at first. And now some of us don't even go to Pinterest at all, but they figured out a way to scale, stay in business, and keep money. And even though they lost customers on one side, they picked up customers on another side. Some of us are familiar with Groupon. I used to use Groupon all the time. I have not used a Groupon in so long. To be honest, I didn't even know they were still in business. They figured out how to scale. They found we cannot just keep giving coupon discounts. We got to know another way to be able to scale this business. And then two of my favorite, and you need to look up their stories because they are really good stories, is Insomnia Cookie and Crumble Cookies. They are billion-dollar industries. Cookies, y'all, cookies. So you telling me you can make $1 billion on cookies, but we can't make the money that we're looking to make in education. A service that is required, that people need, where we have all of these schools all over the United States of America. We can't even work in 1%. That's right. She said, what about Slutty Vegan? Slutty Vegan figured out how to scale. She figured out how to scale her business. But you got to be willing to think big. You got to be willing to unlearn a lot of the stuff that you've learned. And a lot of times we got to stop thinking that we can do it by ourselves. I can guarantee you Jeff Bezos did not scale his business by himself. Elon Musk is a talking head. He's a smart guy, but Elon wasn't the one who did the work. Elon had some great people around him. All of these people on here got folks who they work with, communities that they're in, networks that they're involved in to help them to come up with how they're going to scale their business and things they need to look at and think about. So at this point, you should be super excited about your vision. You should be saying to yourself, I got some options. I see how I can do this. This is a reality for me. And if you had a small vision, at this point, you should have a bigger vision. You should have a bigger vision. I want us educators to stop playing small. So I'm gonna offer an extension of help. This summer should be your summer of growth. We gotta stop playing. We already know the 240 minutes is what sets us apart. So why do we think that in the summertime as educators, this is our time to be on downtime? This is the time for us to relax. This is when we just gonna kick it and chill. No, this is when you can get your business up and going. This is where you can set up all of your automation. This is where you can work on your business credit and getting things prepared to be able to offer your services. If you already have a business, this is a great time in the summer for my current consultants to fill all those gaps in your business. If you are a consultant and you are not making $10,000 a month, you got some gaps in your business. There are some things that are missing and some things that you don't know to do or that you have not done, or you're scared to do them because self-sabotage is real. And so you got to figure out, how can I fill these gaps and make it happen? Folks, the summer is the key. During the school year, you got too many things going on. Yes, she said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We got too many things going on in the school year, and we got to be willing to dedicate the time to our vision. Too many of us are sitting back thinking that if we just pray, that prayer alone is going to solve the problem. And I'm here to tell you, it's not. It's prayer plus works. But you got to first have the belief. And so I offer to you to say to yourself, I'm going to do a summer of yes. I am going to use the summer to get my business in order, to take the time where I can put the 240 minutes in to be able to build my business, to scale my business, to make sure that the foundation of my business is set in an appropriate place. We have a boot camp that is coming up. I invite you. I personally want to invite you to it. It is an amazing boot camp. When I say this boot camp has created lots of money for people, you got options. You can do general admission VIP or VIP plus coaching. So the boot camp is 30 days. We're talking about all of June. That's all we're talking about. You still get to have your break. You still get to kick it because I'm going to help you to organize your time in a way. We're not talking about working 500 hours a week. No, you're going to come meet with me 1 day per week, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have a big topic that we're going to talk about. You're going to have specific tasks that you need to do. You're going to be able to answer questions and get feedback. That's the biggest thing that a lot of you all need. You're doing stuff, you don't know if you're doing it right. You don't know if it's going to work. You have no idea of how it's going to land. And so this way you get feedback. You have 7 days to implement the work. 7 days, people. So now you have some accountability with your implementation. Let me tell you, one of the biggest reasons why we don't do the things we need to do is because we're willing to lie to ourselves. We're willing to lie to ourselves, but we won't lie to other people. If you told somebody else that you were going to show up and you were going to do something for them, you would do it. But because it's for you, you talk yourself out of it. So you need some accountability and some support with implementation. So we're going to do a 30-day boot camp because I want these educators to come on into this consulting business, make this good money, create a lifestyle for yourself that you love, and live the life of your dreams and stop playing small. After 15, 10, 18, 30 years, you are an expert at what you do. You're an expert. Nobody's coming with a magic wand to appoint you an expert. It don't take 30 years to become an expert. I just need us to know that, but you can take that 30 years of experience and monetize that and help other people who haven't had 30 years, and you can shorten their road for them. So general admission, you get a 30-day boot camp, 4 weeks. You come to the session, and then you got 7 days to implement. You come back 7 days later, you get to share your work, get feedback, and also during the week in our private Facebook group. And then it's me alive again, and I'm giving you more instruction, more strategy, more feedback. Week 1, we're going to make sure that the foundation of the business is set. Week 2, we're going to make sure that your business credit is up to snuff, because some of us don't understand you should not be building and financing your business out of your paycheck, and you don't know how to appropriately do business credit. It does not matter about your personal credit. If your personal credit is 500, that ain't got nothing to do with business credit. And then week 3, we're going to work on your systems. You got to get your systems in place, because the key is you are going to be competing against other education companies. I want you to stop thinking that you're competing against other consultants. You're not competing against other consultants. We're not talking about $300 PDs. We're not talking about $1,200 PDs. If that's what you're charging, stop it right now. Let me say that. If that's what you're charging, stop it right now. We're talking about real packages and programs, 20,000 up to 350,000. We have one person right now working a $350,000 contract that she won on her own. She brokered on her own, and it is her contract that she's working. That one contract will feed her for all of this year and part of next year. $350,000. Anybody who can't live off that, I don't know what's wrong with you. But we got to stop these $300 PDs, these $800 PDs. That's foolishness. And that's because you don't know the appropriate way to set up your systems. We're not competing, at least the people who I work with, we're competing against other education companies and not other consultants. So we're talking about the Discovery Educations, the Houghton Mifflins, the Ready IXL, the ASCDs, all of these other education companies. We're charging the same thing they charge because we are better positioned. We were actual educators in the school system. We know how the system works, and we're not coming to tell you what we think. We're coming to show you what we know and how it can support you in your classroom. So that is week 3. And then week 4, we got to get you all the certifications that you need. You should be set up just like Walmart, just like Nike, just like Foot Locker, just like Whole Foods. You should be a fully functional, sustainable business. And those certifications are difficult. They are difficult, but that's because you have no guidance. You're trying to do it on your own. And so we get all of those things set up, and then you're ready to go with the launch of the business. And then for those who move over to the executive, you're going to get a ticket for the Iman Live, which is in July. So in June, we're going to use all of June to build our foundation of our business, fill in any gap, make sure that we know that we're set and ready to go, how to get clients in the business and all that good stuff. And then in July, commit to yourself that I'm going to come to Iman Live, where in that conference, we're going to show you how to close sales conversations, how to represent yourself at a vendor event. We're not going to stand on stage and talk to you. That's the difference between the conferences that we do and what other people do. We're actually going to demonstrate for you. You are going to be a participant, and you are going to get step-by-step strategy on what it is you need to do, how to do it for yourself. So we're going to talk about vendor events. Some of y'all got a book in y'all. We're going to show you how to self-publish your book to determine thought, to make you a thought leader in your industry. We're going to show you what coaching should look like. There are folks who, they were a teacher one day, they got plucked from the classroom. They said you're an instructional coach. You went to 2 PDs on coaching, and you felt like that made you a coach. But we know that you're just in that classroom telling people what to do and not truly coaching. And so we have a very highly talented coach. All of these people are educators. All of them are highly successful ed consultants who are coming to show you the tricks and the trades so that you can bring in these high level contracts. Again, I'm not talking about no $2,000 contract. We can get those with our eyes closed. I'm talking about the big fish, the ones that's going to pay your bills for the full year. We got to stop playing small. So at Iman Live in July 11th through 13th in St. Louis, Missouri, you're going to learn a number of different things. Some folks are going to do government contracting. Some people are, you can pick the track that you're going to do, sales call, marketing, branding, messaging, storytelling, publishing. And so all of the things that you need will be at that conference. So in June, you're building the business, you're filling in gaps, you're going to feel really secure, you're going to feel empowered about your business. You're going to be absolutely amazed at the progress that you made in 30 days. And then in July, commit to coming to the conference. And when you leave there, be ready to experience exponential growth, because you're going to be ready to hit the ground going. And my segment, in case you're wondering, what is Dr. D going to do if all these other people are teaching and presenting? I'm going to teach you how to make one offer. My topic, my segment is the one offer. And so we are going to put together your one offer at the event that's going to be your money maker. We're going to understand the psychology behind the one offer, behind the money, behind the conversation. So we're going to take all the things you've learned and we're going to put it together to create that one offer. And then for those folks who know this is for them, I need to be there, I'm using this summer to change my life, you're going to get the boot camp and you'll get replays for 30 days. You're going to also get the VIP to the Iman ticket. VIP means that you're going to be eating with the guest speakers. So you're going to be eating with the guest speakers, and you also get a VIP session with me at the conference. So that alone, if you've never been to a conference, you got to talk to some of the people who've been. The people who I bring in are top notch. One of the people has grossed $22 million in revenue. Again, I'm only bringing in consultants. I'm not bringing in people who do other stuff. They're all consultants. The other person just created a $90 million app. As a consultant, she created an app. And so there are some of you all who need to talk to her. She's been absolutely amazing. She did 25 years in corporate, became a leadership coach. And now she took that leadership coach and turned it into an app that is valued at $90 million. That's one of our guest speakers. What is the value of being able to sit and talk with somebody who has produced a real app in a real business? And might I add, it was funded through Goldman Sachs and Citibank. So she did the pitch. I remember Cassandra did the pitch. She won her pitch competition. She has investors, those who are looking for investors. She has investors. So those are conversations that you just can't get around the corner. You got to be in the room. But imagine being able to eat lunch with these people, to eat dinner with these people, to be at the table with these people and talking to them. We have another consultant, Dr. Riddle. This is, I think, year 15 for Dr. Riddle. Her and her husband are consultants. They have a consulting agency and they fly all over the United States. Some of y'all follow them on Instagram. She's going to be at the conference and she's going to share you the key share with you the keys to coaching. When I say that sister is smooth, that sister is smooth. When I say the best coach, hands down, I've ever encountered, she will talk you into quitting your job and you don't even know what happened. And you make the decision. She's not telling you to do it. She's using coaching techniques. And so she's going to teach you some coaching techniques. So you got a couple of options for those who want to choose. And I'll also say that they have Klarna and PayPal set up where they will split up the payments for you. They do the payment plans for you. And so you got a couple of options. You can keep doing it alone. You can keep implementing the wrong ideas or keep guessworking and researching and researching and researching. Some of y'all out here paying coaches who have never worked in education. That's a big problem because education is not the same as corporate America. There are some complexities that folks don't understand. When they tell you to just call the principal, that's not how it works. When they say start a conversation, y'all know they don't work like that, but they don't know it don't work like that because they went to school as a student, came out in 12th grade or went to college and that was it. We know that it's a system and you got to crack the system. Today is June 1st. We are 6 months into the year, which is why I wanted to do this today. We're 6 months into the year. Half of the year is gone. You got to ask yourself, what's going to happen in the next half of the year? Is it going to be the same? Do I want to make the growth that I say I want to make? Am I willing to invest in yourself? As a bonus, I am going to offer you all, anybody who signs up during this call, you get a VIP session with Dr. D with me. So we're going to go through your idea. We're going to flesh through whatever big question that you have. You get a full hour with me. I don't know, most of you all have not done a VIP session with me, but for the people who have done VIP sessions with me, it's me 100% focused on your business. And I'm listening to you, and then I'm giving you strategy, steps, and recommendations on things that you can do. But I'm also telling you when you're talking crazy. See, that's the difference between real coaching. Some people will let you sit there and talk foolishness that is going to send you down a rabbit hole that's going to have you broke. I had to talk to one of my people the other day. She is doing a mobile therapeutic unit. Well, she got to buy the van, she got to buy the wrap, she got to do this, she got to do that. We're not investing $100,000 and you don't have any contracts. That's not what we're doing. You're going to go out, you're going to get $100,000 in contracts, and then you're going to get the van. The idea is amazing, but you're working it backwards. And when she thought about it, she said, oh, that don't make sense. She already had the appointment set up to go get the van. We're not investing money in things that do not have money already designated for it. You need somebody who's going to tell you the truth and who's also going to expand and broaden your idea. So for those who are interested, the link is in the chat. Again, I want you to think about your summer, how you are going to spend your summer, how you can make this summer your best summer ever. 6 months done already passed. 6 months is gone. What did you achieve? Are you satisfied with the results? And are you certain that you can get to where you want to be in the next 6 months? It brings me nothing but joy to see several of my people retired this year, several resigned, and it's just a great feeling to know that they no longer have to do the thing that they no longer want to do. Doesn't mean you're not good at it. You just don't want to do that anymore. You got the right to change your mind. And so all I'm saying is don't try to do this alone. The struggle is not necessary, nor is it required. Last thing, and then I'll take a couple of questions. I'm going to take a couple of questions for folks who might have a question or two for me. Follow me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, let's do it now. Get those phones out. Follow me on Instagram. Right now, I'm doing proposal tips on Instagram. I think I'm on proposal tip number 5 on Instagram. I have a podcast. Y'all better get me some reviews on this podcast. The podcast is Educators Moving On, and I talk about what educators need to move on from. It's not this. We talk about how we need to move on from fear of not being risk takers, of self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. So 1 week is me telling you the theory behind it, and the next week is an actual consultant or educator talking about how they were able to move on from it. And then if you're not following me on Facebook, make sure that you're following me on Facebook. The point that I want to make sure that we all take away is that it's enough for all of us. It's absolutely enough for all of us. Abundance is absolutely your birthright. I don't know why we were told that we got to struggle, that it has to be hard, that it's only a little bit. It's not true. And I'm living testament of it. I am a little Black girl from St. Louis, Missouri, the city of St. Louis, not the county of St. Louis. And I was just trying to escape poverty. I went to school, I got the degree, did the things, got into the school system. And guess what? I was excellent at my job. Come to St. Louis, baby, and ask around about Dr. D. They will say, oh, the lady over there in U City, oh, yeah, they know me. But guess what? They wasn't paying me right. Like, I'm in here making all these changes, doing all this stuff. Don't nothing happen unless they talk to Dr. D. That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to do my job at a high level, just like you all do. And I said, I'm doing all this, and the lady in the other building is making more than me, because we get paid off of longevity and not results. Well, because she's been a principal for 10 years, she make way more than me, but I'm doing all of the work. I'm carrying the district by myself. I didn't think that was fair. I didn't. And you can call it what you want to, but I didn't think it was fair. And so I decided I was going to do something about it. I got tired of missing my son's baseball games. And when my son told me that his friends thought I was dead because my husband showed up to everything and I didn't, I knew then, no, sir, I will not keep doing this. And at that time, my boys were in 5th grade, 3rd grade, and 9th grade. And so now I've created a totally different life. And my oldest son will often say he got cheated because the younger boys get to live this different life than what he did. But I'm telling you, it is totally possible. It is 100% possible. We see it every day in our groups. We have people who have closed contracts this week. If y'all think contracts ain't closed in the summer, something wrong with y'all. Contracts are being closed right now in June. Contracts will be closed in July. And my bank account, I make most of my money, me personally, this is how I set my schedule up. I make most of my money August through November. Because in December, I'm on a 21-day vacation somewhere warm. In St. Louis, it's freezing. We get snow, we get ice, we get all that. This year, you're going to find me in Puerto Rico. Last year, I was on a 7-day cruise and in Florida for 7 days. So every year, I'm not working in December. December is not a month I work. January is one of the coldest months. I'm not working, but I can set my schedule up like that. February is my birthday month. I'm gonna be in Aruba this February for my birthday. Already planned, already purchased. So you get that type of freedom when you decide to take a bigger risk. But I feel like nobody told us about the risk analysis. And I didn't think I was playing it safe. I didn't know I was playing it safe until I learned from being out of the school system that, girl, you set yourself up. You was playing safe. You were scared to take a risk. You didn't want to bet on yourself. So I bet on myself and change happened. But a lot of us got to stop dating our business. We got to get serious about it, just like you would with a marriage. I decided in 2017, when I started this business, I'm not playing with this business. I told my husband and my kids, I'm about to do something different. I need y'all to work with me. I need y'all to work with me. I'm gonna need some time to get this set up and going. And I worked and I worked and I worked. And I always believed that it would pay off. Some of us want to work 3 weeks and then get mad because we didn't close a contract and then go take 4 weeks off. And then you hear a good story. Then you say, well, let me get back to my business. No, be committed, but you need some accountability. You need a group. You need other people who understand your frustrations. We talk about our frustrations in our group. And then we also get solutions to those frustrations. So that's just a little info about me, because I really didn't give y'all a lot of background on me. Let's see, somebody said, do you have the links to the workbook from the previous workshops? I do. I don't know how to, I don't know, like, do I have them right now? I don't, but I do. And you see, I remember this time to say the link out loud so that if I don't know how to put it in, but I will tell my assistant to try to get them in there. Can you please give us topics of the 4-week trainings? Yes, so the first week we're gonna do business essentials. The second week we're gonna do business credit. A lot of people downplay business credit. Oh my goodness, I ain't gonna get into the issues with business credit. I see Cassandra smiling because she know I don't play about this business credit. The third week, we're going to do business systems and operations. All of it is too much foolishness going on. We're competing against major companies. You cannot show up as a one-person team. So I show you what you need to do to be a regular company. So like right now, this is Educators Moving On. My business in the school system is Agile Designs and Services, LLC. And so when I'm talking to the school system, I'm Agile Designs. My business is Agile Designs. You can look me up on the internet. I'm www.agiledesignservices.com. And that's what I do, leadership coaching. You got to present as a big business and not as a one-person team or a one-woman team. And it's several things you need to do. It's not one thing. It's not just having the website. It's a number of things you need to do. So that's week 3. And then week 4, we're going to do your certifications. Those certifications are very difficult. That's why you don't see a lot of people with them. But we leverage those certifications in order to be able to get contracts that other people will not be able to get. And then you being able to get feedback and to be able to talk with other people who are doing the same thing. We cut the time by at least 30 days by just working together and doing it together as opposed to doing it yourself. Typically, the number of certifications we do, it takes people a year to get those certifications. We get those certifications within 6 weeks. And my go-getters, they get them within 30 days. But it's a process, and you got to know the process and the ups and downs of it. Are they completion certification? No, they are for your business. They are absolutely not completion. They are business certs, and it depends on what you're doing in your business. It depends on the state that you're in, and we talk about all of that in the boot camp. And then you get the instructions on how to do it. Now, let me just say, in this boot camp, it's not just me on the screen talking. We're pulling up share screen, website, walking through. And when you get stuck, you pulling up your screen and we're saying, no, go back, click here. So I think that's one of the differences in why we have such a level of success, because it's not just me saying, do this, and then you go run off and do it. No, we're doing, like, as I'm talking, I'll be telling you, you should have this pulled up. Do you have it pulled up? Don't just sit here listening to me and you're not typing and doing what I done told you to do. So we're actually working and getting things done during the sessions. And then you have 7 days to complete anything that you didn't do, to get any feedback, to answer any questions. You'll get stuck on some things. We're not going to pretend like you ain't going to get stuck on some things. That's why you need that ability to be able to ask the question to the group and to me and to get some feedback. And so that's the boot camp. But it's not so, I wanted to make it where it's not 5 days in a row. You need more than 5 days in a row. You need to be able to rest. You need to be able to reset. You need to say, okay, I put 5 good hours in on this. I'm going to take the day off, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to finish it up. So you got Wednesday to Wednesday to get your work done. Every Wednesday for 4 weeks, you will meet with me. And if you think of it as a 30-day boot camp, and you're going to see the amazing progress you're going to make in 30 days. I did this in January. And when I say the progress was absolutely amazing, it was amazing. And it's progress. Some people had worked. One person said she had been doing this for 6 years and had not been able to get it done. And she was able to get everything set in 30 days with me. So that's what we're doing. So let me take a couple of questions. I'm going to take about 3 questions. If you have the hand raise reaction, put your hand raised up, and I'm going to try to answer a couple of questions for you all before I get off here and head over out here with my sons. And y'all know I like to finish my evening on the front porch, in case y'all ain't been seeing my dark lives on Facebook, because we don't have street lights, and I don't know why it's so dark when I do my lives. Look at Sonya, she's like, yeah, it'd be super dark, and I'd be trying to position, but I close out my evening on the front porch. It's so peaceful. And so I love that. And so while I'm sitting there, I just go live and then try to, share some tips and strategies with the folks. So it's almost time for me to be on my front porch, and my dog loves it. So that's the time that I get to sit out on the front with my dog. So what questions? Anybody got a question? What questions do we have? Or was I that amazing that we ain't got no questions? Y'all know how to scale y'all business. Y'all know how to go right on. Okay, like I'm that awesome and amazing. Jesus Christ, all right now. So I'm gonna see any more questions. Any questions? I checked the chat, I think. And then if you want to catch the previous workshops, they are available. If you signed up for the previous series, they are available. So if you have no questions, I would love to have you in the workshop. We keep our numbers really small. We don't do 100 and 200 people workshops. When we get our numbers too big, we split the workshops in half so that I can really be able to work with people. It's hard to work with people when you have 100, 200 people. Somebody's going to slip through the cracks. We try to keep our workshops really small. Oh, she said, I have another meeting on Wednesdays about how long will they be. It'll also be recorded, Sidra. So if you're in the basic, you're going to have the recording for 72 hours, which will give you 3 days after that Wednesday to be able to do the work. And then if you're in the other 2 packages, you get the recordings for 30 days. Of course, it's always better when you're live because then you can answer you can ask questions and you can feel the energy, and it's just more motivating. But if you need to watch the recordings, you will have the ability to watch the recordings, but the workshops are 2 hours. And most people will tell you that even though I dedicate 2 hours, I will often stay on until all of the questions are answered because I like for people to be able to get their questions answered. The one thing that I do know is that if everybody on this call got 10 contracts, it ain't gonna impact not one of mine that I got. So ain't no need of me hiding information, not wanting to tell you the truth, not giving you the real tea, because it's enough for all of us. Like when I say it's enough for all of us, it is literally enough for all of us. And so you getting contracts does not impact me getting contracts. And as a matter of fact, we need more educators in the school system getting contracts, and these big businesses who are hiring people off the streets and they're coming in there telling y'all what to do in the classroom and they never taught. I know, because I had some, I paid some. I was a principal. And that girl came in there telling them folks stuff. I had to redo that whole PD. Said, girl, have you ever worked in school? Don't you know that Devon is going to be under the desk? She's not going to be able to do what you just said. Well, this is what the script told me to write, to say. No, this ain't scripted. This girl got 24 kids in kindergarten, and you think she's going to test people one by one and she's going to have it done in a week? Are you crazy? So I know what it's like. I was sitting there pulling my hair out. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus, these folks finna kill me up in here. They got this young girl in here talking crazy to my teachers. So when I go into the schools and I tell all of the educators, your value proposition is that you're a real educator. You've been teaching and doing this thing for 20, 30 years. You know what it takes. You've been there, you've done that. While every situation is unique, all situations have some commonalities. And so we're going to work through this. It's going to give you a lot more credibility. Let's see, Dominic says, do you suggest we start with the boot camp without having a plan right away? Or do you assist with the development of plans for our business? Oh, that is a really great question, Dominic. So if you know you want to get into this and you want to do consulting, whether you want to do a full-time or part-time, I actually recommend that people keep their job, get the business up and running, get clients, and then figure out what your exit date is. So we do talk about what is your exit plan. Don't just be all willy-nilly just quitting jobs up in here, because that's just, that ain't a good plan. But now, when you come to the boot camp, we're gonna start wherever you're at. So we'll start from day one, but some people will already have some of that stuff done. That's okay. It's the way the sessions are set up, whether you've been in your business for 6 years, 10 years, or 1 day, you're gonna fill those gaps. And so we have people who start who don't even have a business name. So they know what they need to do to get the business name. We talk about the business name, they discuss it in the group chat. So we have ways for you to be able to interact and get feedback. And then some people, like the last one, we had somebody who had been in business for 6 years and somebody who had been in business for 10 years. She didn't know if that was the boot camp that she should be in, because she was like, I already launched my business. Well, clearly you got some gaps because you're barely making $3,000 a month. Clearly we got some gaps. So let's get in here and fill these gaps so that now you can make the money that you need to make. So we do start from day one all the way up to wherever you're at. It will fill you for wherever you are. And it is intentionally designed that way. So yes. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? The boot camp is every Wednesday, the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. And then I definitely recommend you do the Iman Live ticket. That portion, it's going to give you the 3-day ticket to Iman Live. That's going to be the game changer because you got to get your business set and solid and then go to the next step instead of trying to do everything at one time. That's the downfall of us educators. We think we can do it all at the same time. And we got to stop thinking and believing that. You need to do things in order. And when I say in order, it's not A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. You might need to do A, B, go to Z, come back to T, go up to P, come around to N. But when you're doing it, you're focused on that thing to get it done. And you understand why you're doing it. And so we discuss all of that in the boot camp. Does filling in the gaps also mean developing a viable consulting service concept? Yeah, if we have a few ideas, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So as we're in the session, people will ask questions. You see how I'm expanding upon questions now? That's what I do in the session. So I have a good idea once I meet people of where they are. And you also have to remember that you're going to get a one-on-one with me. So in that one-on-one, you want to bring that like some people will say, I want to use my one-on-one to develop my niche. Somebody else might say, I want to use my one-on-one to figure out my ideal client. Somebody else might say, I want to use my one-on-one to nail down my product or my package. You get to determine what you're going to use your hour with me on. I don't say you can only do this. You get to tell me what you want to do. And then you also get to determine the time. And do you want to do it before the boot camp? Do you want to do it after the boot camp? Do you want to do it while we're in the boot camp? But you have 60 days to use your 1-hour session with me. So in addition to all the things that we're going to do in the boot camp, you will also have a full 1-hour session with me. And you might be thinking 1 hour ain't a lot. It's a lot when it's only me and you, and we only talking about your business. It gives you a lot of time. All right. So, all right. So if there are no other questions, y'all have a good rest of y'all evening. Don't forget to check me out on podcasts. I need some reviews. Y'all know I'm on 70 episodes and I only got like 10 reviews. Come on, people, be a giver. I give a lot. Y'all can give a lot too. Give me a review on the podcast. And I hope to see y'all at the boot camp and in St. Louis at the live event. Get in the room. You're going to see the difference when you're in the room. Get in a tribe, get in a community so that you can grow your business exponentially. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your night.